Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Letty. We're going to talk about some books today. I am so excited because today I am announcing my very first readathon, and it's for November. I have not done a readathon before, but I've seen a lot of other YouTubers and Instagrammers do it, and it's just like a lot of fun, and I really wanted to design my own. So I'm going to be doing this on YouTube and Instagram. I have a little graphic, thank you, that's the word, that I'm going to be putting on Instagram, and I'll put it up here in a minute too. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm calling this the 2023 Thanksgiving Dinner Readathon. There are 8 prompts, and they're all designed around the different courses of Thanksgiving dinner, a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know if anybody's ever done a Thanksgiving Dinner Readathon before. They probably have. I don't think it's that creative of an idea, but I didn't want to look it up because I didn't want to be like influenced by what other people have done. So maybe you've done one like this before. If you have, I'm sorry. This is my first one, so like getting my ideas off the bat. But yeah, so here's the graphic, and maybe this side, I don't know. We'll see when I'm editing. Let's go ahead and get started with the so what I'm going to do in this video is first of all, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through all 8 prompts and what gave me the idea for them. And then after I go through all 8 of them, I'll go through all 8 of them again, except this time with recommendations of books that could fit them. So, okay. I'm a little jittery, I'm excited. Let's get started. So our very first prompt is, what's on everybody's Thanksgiving table? A turkey. Or if you're vegetarian like me, a veggie loaf. But no. So turkey, for that, I did a book that was set on a farm because, of course, turkeys come from farms, or if you eat veggie loaves for Thanksgiving like I do, the ingredients that make them come from farms. So our turkey prompt is set on a farm, but I will say that a ranch also counts. Just putting that out there. Our next Thanksgiving course is stuffing. Everybody loves stuffing. I know, stuffing is one of my favorite things on the Thanksgiving table. So for this, I did a book that's stuffed with at least 3 points of view or at least 2 timelines. And like if it's got like 2 timelines and 3 point of views, I mean, bonus. So just something that you're just getting either a lot of different perspectives or multiple timelines. So the next course on our Thanksgiving table is cranberries. So for cranberries are red, and I thought to myself, red can kind of usually represents one of 2 things. It either represents love or it represents hate. So for our cranberry course, I decided what better to do than a book that features enemies to lovers. Because that's, the 2 kind of things that red usually represents symbolically. So, cranberries is enemies to lovers. Our 4th Thanksgiving course is mashed potatoes and gravy. So, mashed potatoes and gravy is a classic pairing on anyone's table. And so, for this prompt, we are doing a book with a pair of something in the title. So, like, just a pair of things in the title, whether they're things that are kind of opposite or things that go together, just a pair of something in the title. And if you don't know what I mean by that, I'll just go ahead and I'll give you one of the ones that I'm going to do in the recommendations. Like, it's the rose and the thistle. So there's a rose and a thistle. That's a pair of things in the title. And I'll have some other recommendations later on in this video. So the 5th Thanksgiving course on our table is rolls. Another one of my favorite, y'all. I love me some bread. I think I'm just a carbs person, but bread is one of my favorite things in the world. So for our rolls course, I want you to read a book that has you rolling on the floor laughing. Just something that you think is gonna be really funny. And just a heads up, with this prompt, you do not have to read books for these prompts that you haven't read before. So if you want to do rereads for all 8 of these, that is cool. If you want to read new books for all 8 of things, that is also cool. So, for like roles, if it's a book that you've read before and is going to have you laughing, great. Or if it's a book you've never read before and you think is going to be funny, like maybe it's from an author that has been funny in the past, or it's a totally new author that you read the back of the book and you're like, this looks funny. Perfect. Just a book that you think is going to have you rolling on the floor laughing. Okay, so our 6th Thanksgiving course is the veggies. Veggies are an important part of any meal, and they're an important part of Thanksgiving. And oftentimes, I think veggies are the most colorful thing on your Thanksgiving table, because you've got like peas that are green or carrots that are orange, The veggies are usually super, super colorful. So for that, we're just doing a colorful cover or even a colorful spine, just a colorful book, anything you want for that. Pretty straightforward. Okay. So our 7th Thanksgiving course is the sweet potatoes or yams. Sweet potatoes are pretty much a staple in the fall and on your Thanksgiving table. So, but really just mainly beyond Thanksgiving, sweet potatoes are a staple in the fall. So for this prompt, we're doing a fall-themed book. Whether it's set in the fall, or whether it has like fall or autumn in the title, or even if it just gives you like autumn vibes, it doesn't necessarily have to be set in autumn or have autumn in the title, but if you just get really like fall, autumn vibes from it, it works. I mean, that works. Okay, our 8th and final prompt, our 8th and final Thanksgiving course is the dessert. And what is more classic on the Thanksgiving table than pumpkin pie? So, what's better? I don't know what I'm saying. So, what does pumpkin pie make you think of reading-wise? A sweet as pie romance. So for this one, we're just doing a romance that's super light, super sweet, nothing too deep, nothing too, emotional. Just sweet as pie love, y'all. Okay. So, those are our 8 prompts for the 2023 Thanksgiving Dinner Readathon. Now, you can either turn this video off now, or you can stick around because I'm going to be giving you some recommendations for each prompt. And we're going to get that started just now. Okay, so got my notebook out with all my papers. Hopefully the rustling pages aren't too loud in the microphone. Sorry, I got a little tickle in my throat. So our first prompt is turkey, and that's set on a farm, although I say ranches count. So for that, I have Chasing the Sun by Tracy Peterson, that's set on a farm. I have something like the Farmer's Bride collection. If you have a collection like this that are like all kind of set on a farm, you can either read this whole thing, which would be a lot, or you can just go ahead and read like 1 or 2 stories from here. That counts too. They are set on a farm, so I would count that. You also have Short Straw Bride by Karen Whitemeyer, which is set on a ranch, but I would say it counts. Being from Texas myself, we are cattle ranch country. So, and a lot of times ranches, they either have kind of like vegetable gardens up near the house, or they have even sometimes a little larger scale farming operation, especially back in the historical day, which a lot of like books that are set on a farm and ranch are going to be historical fiction. A lot of them are going to have at least farming operations big enough to help sustain the people living there, because historically it was very self-sustaining, You didn't go to the store like we do today, get all your groceries. So there, you had gardens to sustain yourself. So that's why I think ranches count. Also, the Leia's Garden series by Lorraine Snelling. The first book, they're kind of on the Oregon Trail for most of it, so that one doesn't count as much. But the second and third book, I mean, they are farming, and they're growing a flower farm and a food farm, so I definitely think these count. Also, side note, I'm holding up here book 3 in the series, and when I gave a review of it a couple months ago, I said that I was really disappointed to have this as the last book because I felt like it didn't really resolve anything. But when I was doing the research for this, for recommendations for this prompt, I found out that they have announced a 4th book. When book 3 came out and I read it, there wasn't any information on the 4th book, but they have announced a 4th book now. So I feel like I can give this book a little higher rating now because it's okay that nothing is resolved because it's not the end. Anyway, side note there, but okay. Okay. So, prompt number 2 is stuffing. A book stuffed with at least 3 points of view or 2 timelines. So for this one, I have Secrets of Paper and Ink by Lindsay Harrell. This one is great because it has 3 points of view and 2 timelines, so that's really, really stuffed. The Gulf Coast Chronicle series by Beth White always has like at least 3 points of view. Yesterday's Tides by Rosanna M. White has multiple timelines. Hope Between the Pages by Pepper Basham has multiple timelines. Set the Stars Alight. Cannot think of the author right now, but I'll put it up here. Multiple timelines. All really, really good options. The third prompt is Cranberries, which is Enemies to Lovers. So I kind of had a hard time coming up with prompts for this because I personally am very picky about my Enemies to Lovers books. I love witty banter, and I love, characters that kind of enjoy, bantering with each other and going back and forth and enjoy annoying each other just a little bit, but only in good natured. On the other hand, I hate the characters when they do the Enemies to Lovers where they're just like straight out mean to each other until they decide not to be. That really, really bugs me. So, really pick about my Enemies to Lovers. But some of the ones that I really like are A Match in the Making by Jen Toreno. They definitely get off on the wrong foot in this book. Ring of Secrets by Rosanna M. White. They are on opposite sides of the American Revolution, so there's that kind of enemies. A Name Unknown by Rosanna M. White. The girl in this book is sent to this guy's house to kind of spy on him and see if he's loyal either to Germany or Britain right before World War I. So again, they have nothing wrong with each other's personality-wise, they think each other are really nice, but there's some political enemies going on there, which is the same as Ring of Secrets. So those are really good. Chasing the Sun, which I mentioned as Set on a Farm earlier. They've got some enemies to lovers going on because, his when he and his father and brother go off to fight for the Union, his farm in Texas is seized and given to this girl's family because they're Confederate supporters, so he comes home trying to reclaim his land. So they've got some enemies to lovers things going on as they kind of figure out, well, it's my land, no, it's my land going on. So that's good. Also, A Daring Sacrifice by Jolie Headland. It's more of a YA book, but it's got a little enemies to lovers going on because it's like a female Robin Hood kind of, and then a young rich knight. So they've got a little bit of a class conflict going on there. And she's like a female Robin Hood, so she's really good with the bow and arrow. I love archery books, y'all. I do. They're great. They're kind of like a guilty pleasure of mine. So I would recommend that one. Okay. Our next prompt is Mashed Potatoes and Gravy, which is a book. Okay. Sorry, I got a little confused because my graphic here has them in a different order as my notebook. My notebook has pumpkin pie in the middle, and in my graphic, I put it at the end. So I used my notebook to set my recommendation piles kind of in an order so that I could just go in an order, and then I was like, wait, I just skipped this one. I skipped this one because this is pumpkin pie, and it should be at the end. It should be at the end. I'm gonna rearrange really quickly here. So much for trying to be organized. Anyway, where am I? mashed potatoes and gravy. Excuse me. So mashed potatoes and gravy is something with a pairing in the title. So for that, I said it earlier, but Secrets of Paper and Ink, paper, ink, that's a pairing. The Rose and the Thistle, rose, thistle, that's a pairing. I've got The Sound of Light by Sarah Sundin, sound, light, I'd say that's a pairing. I also have Whispers from the Shadows by Rosanna and White. Whispers and shadows aren't necessarily two things that go together as obviously as like paper and ink or rose and thistles, but I feel like when you think of like eerie whispers, they're usually coming from the shadows, and that's kind of like what it is in this book, so I think that something like that counts. So yeah, those are all books with pairing in the titles. Our next prompt is Rolls, which is a book that has you rolling on the floor laughing. So, A Match in the Making by Jen Torreno, super funny, had me laughing really hard. Anything by Pepper Basham, so I have Positively Penelope, Authentically Izzy here. Hope Between the Pages, which I held up a second ago, all really funny. Also, anything by Christiane Hunter, so funny. She is such a good author. Anything by her is going to be funny. Janice Thompson, who I'll talk about in a minute again, she is kind of a funny author. I will say a little caveat on her is that she tends to like repeat her jokes. So I know when I read her books, like the first time I laugh, and then the third time I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well, we've already had this joke, and it's a little cheesy at that point. Plus, she is kind of the cheesy kind of laughing, so it depends on what you find humorous. She's pretty cheesy, but I find it cute, especially when I want a really, really light read. But just a little caveat, she does tend to repeat her jokes a little bit, so it's like the first time it is funny, and then the next time it's less funny. But I would call her a humorous author, if that's what you're looking for. Okay. So our next... Got to change pages. Our next category, or our next prompt, is vegetables, which is something with a colorful title. So I would say Ladies of the Lake has a really colorful spine here. That counts. Stories That Bind Us by Susie Finkbeiner, colorful. The Sweet Life by Susanna Woods Fitcher is colorful. Fairest of Heart by Karen Whitemeyer is colorful. It's got the Snow White thing on the cover. The Nature of a Lady is colorful. It's got like the purple and the green. It's kind of more muted colors, but it's still pretty vibrant, I would say. The Lines Between Us by Amy Lynn Green. You've got like yellow and green mixed together. I think that's really colorful. Also, the epistolary novels from Pepper Basham. These two are really colorful. There's so many options for colorful titles. Again, the Garden series by Lorraine Snelling, super colorful. Secrets of Paper and Ink, super colorful. Super colorful dress on this one. Like, you have so many options for that. It's totally up to you. All right. Next, we have Sweet Potatoes, which is something fall themed. So for this, I have Until Leaves Fall in Paris by Sarah Sundin. This book is actually kind of set over like an entire year, but from the title, you know, when do leaves fall? They fall in the autumn. So I would say the title is very autumnish. That counts. Ladies of the Lake, this book is set over like 30 years, but especially when it's talking about like their school days, it gives me very, very Anne of Green Gables vibes, which give me fall vibes. So technically it's not like a fall book, but I would say it really gives me fall vibes, so I think that counts. Also, there's Autumn by the Sea by Melissa Tagg, which is actually what I'm going to be reading for this prompt because I have it on ebook. I got it like a month or two ago when they were having, when it was like free for a day, I got it, but I haven't read it yet. So Autumn by the Sea is what I'm going to be reading. Hopefully I'll like it. We'll see. There's also A Rumored Fortune by Joanna Davidson Politano. Again, I don't know when that one's set exactly, like what time of year, But I know that when I read it, it gave me like super autumn-y vibes. So I would say that counts. Other ones that have autumn in the title are Autumn Skies by Denise Hunter and The Wind's Autumn by Jeanette Oke. I have not read either of those, but I don't really mind recommending them because both Jeanette Oke and Denise Hunter are very, very well-renowned authors in the Christian fiction scene, and I usually only ever hear good things about them. I've never heard anything negative spoken about a Jeanette Oke book, and I've only really heard one negative review of a Denise Hunter book, really. Other than that, everything I hear about people who've read their books is really positive. And I have not read Denise Hunter, but I have read quite a bit of Jeanette Oke. Not this book, but I've read a bit of her, and I know she's a really great author. So even though I haven't read those books, I still feel like I can definitely recommend them to y'all because they just have really, really positive reviews in general in the Christian fiction community. So there are those. I have to like remind myself to slow down talking. I'm just a naturally fast talker. I hope it doesn't bother you guys. Our final prompt is Pumpkin Pie, which is a sweetest pie romance. And so for that, I have Janice Thompson. Excuse me. Janice Thompson, who I mentioned earlier in the funny category. I've read her Weddings by Bella series, which is set in Galveston, Texas, which is really close to where I live. I live in Southeast Texas. Also, I've read her another wedding series. I forget what it's called, but it's got a few books in it. And I've read her Hollywood series, and they're all really, really cute, really light, fun romances with good Christian themes in them. They have really great Christian themes in them. A Match in the Making by Jen Torreno. I would call that a light and fun romance. Also, Anything by Pepper Basham, Authentically Izzy, Positively Penelope. Very light and straightforward. And what else? A Girl's Guide to the Outback. I read that one a few months ago. It's super light, straightforward, fun romance. City Girl by Lori Wick. I would also say it's a pretty light and fun romance. Super sweet. Okay. So those are all my recommendations for the prompts for this Thanksgiving Dinner Readathon. You can choose one of my recommendations. You can go with your own choices. I just wanted to let y'all know some options. Obviously, read whatever you want. And you know, if you decide to do this readathon, you do not have to do every single prompt. You can read all 8 books if you want to. And first of all, you can do all 8 books, like all 8 prompts, without reading 8 different books. So if something is fits multiple prompts, like for example, this could be a pair in the title and a colorful title, or this could be a colorful title and a fall read. Like if something hits multiple prompts and you want to double up, feel free to do that. If you want to read 8 books for 8 prompts, feel free to do that. If you want to do 2 or 3 prompts instead of all 8, feel free to do that. I don't even know if I'm going to do all 8 prompts. I think November is going to be a pretty busy month for me because I'm also going to be trying to write 1,000 words a day for NaNoWriMo. So I probably won't read as many books in the month of November as I do in other months. I'm going to try to do all 8 prompts, or I'll probably double up on prompts too. I'm going to try to read 8 books for 8 prompts, but if I get busy, whether with NaNoWriMo or with other things, I'm not going to be mad at myself if I don't accomplish it. And you guys can do 1 prompt, you can do 8 prompts, whatever you want. All I ask is that if you do the readathon and if you post anything about it either here on YouTube or on your Instagram, please post it with hashtag 2023 Thanksgiving Dinner Readathon. Okay. I think that's all I wanted to say about this. I'm super, super excited about it. It's my very first readathon, and I hope you guys participate. I won't be mad if you don't, no worries. But yeah, thank you for watching this video.